Hi everyone, welcome to our second ecology lesson. As you can see, today we're going to talk about ecosystems and what they're composed of. This is the document that you'll need to fill out as I'm talking, and by the end you should have a definition and a few examples for each of these terms. Don't worry about this part yet, I'll explain it after the presentation. Okay, imagine you're this camper and you're going on a backpacking trip to Algonquin Park in Ontario. You intend to spend 4 days in the wilderness. That's a long time, so you're going to have to pack many things. First, you'll probably look at the weather, and based on that, you'll pack your clothing, then you'll pack some food, and you'll pack some equipment. However, you're not quite done. You also have to consider living things that you'll encounter in Algonquin Park. You might encounter a raccoon or a bear, which both of those are attracted to food, so you might pack a rope. A rope would allow you to tie your bag of food to a tree. That way they can't run off with it in the middle of the night. You might also encounter many mosquito, and since you don't want to have a million mosquito bites and be itchy for all 4 days, you're probably going to pack some insect repellent. So all of these things that you just considered before going on your trip are all components of an ecosystem. An ecosystem includes all the living organisms and their physical and chemical environment, and it's composed of populations of both plant and animal species. Now we're going to look at a few examples of ecosystems. Some of them you may have already seen because a lot of these are found in Canada. However, others are not. So if you've traveled all over the world, maybe you've seen it, maybe not. We have wetlands as well. Grasslands, this one you could find a lot of in Saskatchewan. Tropical rainforest, this one is pictured in Australia. Lakes, although this one has a really cool turquoise color, it's actually Lake Louise, which is located in Alberta. Rivers, this is the Sahara Desert, which is located on the African continent. Here we have the tundra, and this one is pictured in Yukon. And a tundra, all it really is a large area that doesn't have any kind of trees on it, as you can see. Coastal and marine areas are another type of ecosystem, and in this example we have the Bay of Fundy, which is actually pretty cool because here, as you can see, you can't walk around when there's a high tide, and then here you can when there is a low tide. So it takes about 6 hours and 13 minutes for the water to go from high tide to low tide. And then the rising and falling is done just because of the attraction of the moon and the sun. The Bay of Fundy is located between New Brunswick and Nova Scotia. This picture of the savanna grassland in Africa explains how an ecosystem is made. So first we have just one organism, which is the antelope. And then the next is a population because we have multiple antelopes. The community, however, includes various species: the antelope, the zebras, the donkeys, the vulture, and the lions. And then finally, to get to the ecosystem, we also have to include all of the abiotic factors, such as the sunlight, the grassland, the trees, the water as well. What exactly is an abiotic factor? Well, it's any non-living component that affects another organism or shapes the ecosystem. And examples from this savanna grassland in Africa include the temperature, the sunlight, the rain, and the soil. These are all things that will affect the lives of the species that we talked about before. And the biotic factors, on the other hand, are any living component that affects another organism or shapes the ecosystem. These examples would include the antelope, the zebras, donkeys, vulture, lion, elephants, and that's all. Now that you understand what an ecosystem is and what it's made of, we do have a little activity to do so you can confirm your understanding. For the pond ecosystem gizmos activity, all you have to do is go on here and really you're just going to go fishing, press play, and you're going to observe how many catfish and how many trout you're catching. Then you can use the thermometer and you can measure the oxygen level in the water and just observe any other factors you see in this ecosystem. And what you're going to do is fill out the biotic factors and abiotic factors that you found in this gizmos. And after that, you're going to go back onto it and you're going to check the little box that says no farms. And you'll explain what you noticed about the amount of fish caught compared to before when you hadn't clicked this box. Finally, you're just going to write down what you know about human activities and their impacts on ecosystems. And you'll put a couple examples of ecosystems found in Canada. Remember that we did talk about this in the Google slide. That's all for today. Thanks for coming and have a great day.